Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we have a lot to talk about involving some drama and other things I know you guys will find interesting. We're going to talk about Asmongold once again dunking on Hassan Piker in a very hilarious fashion. And then we're going to talk about Hassan Piker and some lies he's been exposed for. I know, Hassan Piker getting caught in a lie, I can't believe it. But this time it's really hilarious. And the memes coming out of it, they're just chef's kiss, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing what we're seeing here. But there's one other situation we're going to talk about, and that involves the Nina Lin individual who's been banned on Twitch yet again after a resurfaced clip showed her what many people believe is assaulting another male streamer. This would be the second time this has happened to her. And now, after the second ban, she's finally saying she's sorry. She's so sorry, guys. How many streamers have I covered this week who are dodging accountability like this? It's crazy. But the first thing I want to talk about today involves a very funny situation where this streamer named Deshae Frosts came out flexing on people, showing off his revenue on Twitch for the last month. He comes out and shows this, claiming he made $300,000 in 1 month on Twitch, despite having 8,000 subs, which is a very impressive amount of subs, but people are like, how did you produce 300,000 out of that? And honestly, if it was real, I gotta up my game. You guys gotta help me out. You gotta like, comment, subscribe, boost stuff like this in the algorithm. Super thanks, anything. We got a long way to go. We're getting absolutely blasted out here, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, jokes aside, you can see the note down here. Something wasn't right, and it was Asmongold to come out and prove that this is very likely a fabricated screenshot.
I'm not saying that he's lying, but here's what I am saying. Why is it that this 0 is not the same as that 0? That's crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Like, what is this? Now, maybe it's a different amount. You know what? I'll pull up mine right now. How about that? Let's pull up mine. We can see, and we're going to look and find out whether it's the same 0 or not. So what page is this? This could be, it could be on his phone, so I might not have it, but this is on the desktop. I'm assuming the font's going to be the same. Let's look at this 0. Okay, there's this 0. Which 0 is it? It's the other one. Yeah, it's the other one. You changed the font, buddy. You changed the font. And does anybody even know this?
Yeah, this wasn't looking good from the jump. I mean, this looks like one of those situations where someone gets like a 70 on their test and they have to go get their parent to sign it. So they try to arc the 7 into a 9. And no matter how hard you try, it just doesn't look quite right. So I think what Asmongold's showing here is pretty definitive proof that he was fabricating this screenshot, which, if you really think about it, why? The guy's clearly making good revenue, having over 8,000 subs. He streamed a very large amount of hours in that month. I'm sure he was juicing as many ads as he could possibly do. That's not even throwing shade. That's just how people function on Twitch. So I'm sure he made a lot, okay? But he's clearly exaggerating, which is kind of sad. The fact that he can't just show off what he already did. He has to exaggerate to a ridiculous total and Photoshop it in the process. Not looking great, but hilariously enough, this Deshae guy, he would come out and respond to Asmongold and basically claim he only went after him because he is a black streamer and also because Asmongold is jealous and broke.
Just because, bro, you not making $300,000 a month like me, I'm the richest streamer in the world. I'm the richest streamer in the world. You're broke. I'm really the richest streamer in the world, bro. For real. And it's like, when they see another young black man really try to thrive, it's like, why are you on my ass? Why you on my ass, you, Jesus? Why you on my ass? You. I'm a young black man trying to get out here. And you over here getting on me about the zeros and the zeros. I came from 0. I came from 0.
Well, there he goes, pulling out the race card on this situation. There's no rebuttal here to what Asmongold is saying. He's not trying to debunk the screenshots and the comparisons. He's just saying he's doing this because he saw that I was a black streamer succeeding. And then you start thinking about things like the claim that Asmongold is broke, which is completely insane, okay? You don't have to be a glazer of this guy to understand he makes a lot of money. In fact, he's very transparent. I think mainly because he just doesn't care at this point what kind of revenue he makes. And he showed off his Twitch and Kick earnings for October. He made $165,000 on Kick and $20,000 on Twitch, which that's an interesting side by side. But also on top of that, people really do forget he's got 2 YouTube channels. He has the Clip channel, but mainly the Asmongold TV main channel. I mean, look at this, 150 million views this month alone. That is a lot, okay? In fact, I would be confident in saying that number of views in the last 30 days is probably at the least more than the Kick earnings, if not multiple times. Now, I also know that he, I think, shares the revenue with his editors, so he's not receiving all of that, but that just goes back to the fact that he really doesn't care that much. He seems like the type of guy who hasn't looked at his bank accounts in like a year. You know, money never really seemed to be important. And also just think about his sort of upbringing, right? He you can see it. He's living in his upbringing, right? To act like he doesn't understand what it's like to come from nothing or whatever. It's pretty ridiculous. But Asmongold would confirm what this guy was claiming. And he says, in a response to a clip sharing this situation, he says, he's right. I did this because he was black. And then he would respond on stream, elaborating on that point.
And so anyway, I said he's right. I did this because he was black. I think this shit is so funny, bro. Giga Rich Man, everyone. He's got to be around. I think this is funny, right? And at the beginning, I was like, geez, like I don't know really if this guy's being serious. Is this guy just a moron or like what's really going on here? I think he's just around. I think he's just around, but it is funny.
All right, so this was a different clip he was reacting to than the first one we saw, the first response from Deshae, okay? And when he said he's doing this to a little black man, I think it all clicked that whether this started off as a serious effort or was all an elaborate troll, I think at this point he's just rage baiting, and this whole situation is really funny. Because there's people out there who would unironically try to say this about Asmongold, criticizing him or her, and we're seeing this guy just playing with it and just trying to make fun of the whole thing. I think this whole situation is just funny, to be honest with you, and one of the more lighthearted beefs / drama you'll see. I don't think any of this is really that serious. But anyways, let's move on to Hassan Piker, who's once again getting clowned on. For what? Well, openly lying and getting caught in 4K. Now, the other day, I briefly shared this clip. We talked about it for a little bit. But since then, there's been a note attached to this tweet that is really, really funny. And to sum up this clip, basically, he came out with this rags to riches story. Yes, Hasan Piker is trying to, in this clip, to say that he didn't grow up wealthy, and then at one point he was dead broke, and then he turned it all around, and now he's this rags to riches story. And it's funny on its face, but it's even funnier because since, like I said, the last time I talked about this, it got hit with this note, and they came prepared with multiple receipts, beginning with this saying Hassan is lying.
When you grow up affluent, as I did, right? By the time you get to college, even if you go to college in America where you get a slate wiped, basically, because you have no network in the same way in the United States of America, I still did not have to work to ensure that I took care of my family. That would have over my schooling in the process. You know what I mean? There's a tremendous amount of different societal pressures that I did not have to withstand as a consequence of growing up affluent. Even if they had no money by the time I got to college, it still doesn't matter, right? Because I got a tremendous education.
Yeah, so literally from his own words, he says that he grew up affluent and didn't have to worry about making ends meet or having to take on a job while he was getting his education, a very good education as he describes it. And people are finding some old pictures of Hasan, and wow, AI couldn't even generate an image this good. People are definitely clowning on this image, and the jokes are, well, they're really funny. But let's continue on. The other parts of the notes here, we already knew this, and I mentioned most of these in the last video. His father was extremely wealthy and is extremely wealthy right from the jump. And also, he was hired by his uncle Cenk, who is on Young Turks, who helped him get a really good gig right out of college, you know, Nepo baby type stuff. And also, his mom is a commercial landlord, which again, as I pointed out last time, is very interesting given the fact one of his most viral posts or clips ever is him saying, we need to soak the streets with the blood of landlords because capitalism is bad. That's the type of stuff they need to work out in therapy. You know, that's none of my business beyond this. But from there, Hasan would go back and tackle politics. And of course, anything he tries to do these days with that is getting clowned on because, well, Collargate has continued. But anyways, you have this individual saying, is it just me? Or does it feel like every content creator above the age of 30 is doing this political commentary BS? I swear, you guys were playing games, not complaining about this stuff just 2 years ago. What happened? And Hasan says, Trump-era anti-woke backlash made it much more profitable to be a right-wing commentator without social stigma, and it doesn't require any reading or critical thinking to blame everything on woke and gay, and you have an automatic audience of receptive dullards. Yes, this is the biggest cope I've ever seen. This whole thing is gigantic cope. I think a lot of people, to address this post up here, as we've talked about recently, there are people who covered gaming news and anime and other things like that, myself included, who saw politics drip into our hobbies. And that's why we talk about things that are a little more political than we might have a couple of years ago. That's just the nature of things right now in many different industries. But when we look at Hasan's part right here, talking about how this anti-woke grind and being a right-wing commentator is just so easy. It's just this revenue machine. Meanwhile, this guy has basically just been doing his whole gimmick of orange guy bad for what, like a decade at this point? Like, what is this guy talking about? That has been his meal ticket for the last decade. And of course, Asmongold would come in with this reply. Yep, he's basically creating a post for himself. Many such cases. But let's move on to an update regarding the Nina Lin situation and also Zoe Spencer as well. I talked about this. You have to use a freeze frame. But there was this Saeed individual who was assaulted by these two. She was grabbing him by the neck while this girl was twerking on him. And later on in the clip, they pin him down. They're like sitting on top of him against his will. He has spoken out against this and said he did not like this. It was uncomfortable. And yeah, this was a big set of controversy for Twitch, especially given the fact that both of these individuals, after these clips went viral, were banned for less than 2 days. Yep, they were banned and unbanned in less than 2 days for doing this live on camera, by the way. But the Zoe Spencer one, the one who was twerking on this poor guy, she went out and basically said that this incident took place back in February, and she already apologized for all this, and yada, yada, yada. And she says her apologies have always been sincere, and she's taken a lot of time reflecting and learning and growing from her mistakes. And I still don't think a lot of people are buying it. But let's talk about Nina Lin. Okay, she's someone who not only did this, but when she was confronted with that viral clip, she said not only that she didn't do this, lying right to your face, she also said it's embarrassing for a man to be assaulted. Obviously, that didn't really go over very well with people. However, since then, she got banned again, and this time it's because a different clip has resurfaced this time involving disguised toast. And again, can't play it. It's just the way YouTube works, but I'll describe it. He lays down for a massage, and he has an actual professional person doing it, and she basically secretly pushes that professional away and then starts rubbing on his behind, right? He didn't consent to this. He was clearly uncomfortable. You can see it. And he would come out with a statement basically saying that he was very uncomfortable and he felt very uncomfortable even trying to speak up about it because he didn't want to escalate the situation. And it's just kind of sad that this has happened for a while now to multiple male streamers and people featured on Twitch. And it took like this recent movement, this recent momentum to get anything going on with these situations and to get some actual punishment, which again, who knows how long that's going to last. But Nina Lin, after the second ban, would finally say those big words, sorry. Yes, she would basically say that her actions and words are inexcusable and that she is in no way defending them. And the comments she made about Saeed were completely misunderstood by the public. It was never embarrassing to be harmed or to speak out. We heard the clip, guys. I've played it before. She clearly, that's what she was talking about, all right? And then she goes on further to say in regards to toast, I was also out of line. Although I did not move the massage therapist out of the way like he described I had, and I asked for permission from Toast before he lay down, I still shouldn't. So she's deflecting blame and basically saying he asked for it, which she doesn't have anything to prove it. But yeah, that's that update. You can probably guess how well this apology is going over with everyone. But this just kind of plays into things we've talked about the last couple of days with Twitch. We talked about that big round of layoffs at Amazon that has trickled down into Twitch. And another person at Twitch has jumped ship. They did not get laid off. Instead, they have left the company to pursue new opportunities. And this time it is Twitch's global head of communications. So a pretty major role. And the Nina Lin and Zoe situation, it really is just another example of Twitch's total incompetence. And I feel like people are starting to realize, especially after the layoffs, that, it might be time to jump ship on Twitch. We've seen a lot of content creators do it, and now I feel like we're seeing personnel doing it before they get laid off or this platform goes completely under. But anyways, that's going to do it for the situation. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.